Welcome to the Wellness as a Way of Life podcast, your one-stop, all-encompassing source of wellness, knowledge, wisdom, inspiration, and motivation. Here we teach you why not all wellness trends are for you, how to figure out which ones are, how to best adapt them for your personal wellness toolbox, and how ultimately to integrate your wellness practices so fully that they become to feel like brushing your teeth. A foundational part of who you are and not a check mark on your to-do list. Here we know that in order for health and wellness to be sustainable, we need a less is more approach, leaving the information overload and tips overwhelm behind. I'm your host, Megan Swan, creator of the Wellness as a Way of Life course and the Sustainable Integrated Wellness Approach. I have more than a decade of experience in the wellness industry and on my own personal wellness journey, learning how to tune into and trust my intuition and drown out all the noise. As a certified IIN health coach, detoxification expert, plant-based chef, yoga teacher, and coach, I will help you distill down the information overload and feel more confident and at ease in your own skin again. So let's swan dive in. Just gonna take a deep breath. Let's do that again, maybe together if you feel called. Deep inhale. Welcome to Wellness is a Way of Life. This week we're focusing on pillar number 4 of my 6 pillars of optimal wellness system, mindfulness. I invite everyone to think of what is a way that they can bring more presence, more mindfulness, more intention, more just being and less doing into their at least weekly routine, maybe daily. Isn't something that makes sense to you or functions in your day-to-day, but if you don't have something on the weekends that's very intentional around being mindful and present and, offline, then I think a great way to start a mindful practice is with 2 minutes a day. Most people are shocked or saying to themselves, like, what's 2 minutes going to change anything? And I was skeptical myself, but I can tell you from experience personally and with dozens of clients, there's kind of 2 tricks to starting at 2 minutes. One is 2 minutes is so doable in terms of time that it's very difficult to argue with yourself that you don't have time or that, there's nowhere to fit it in your day. And also, once you get doing 2 minutes, you pretty quickly kick it up to 5, you accidentally do 4. You're already in it and it just grows from there. So I started with, my original morning routine was stretching for 2 minutes or doing some sort of meditation. Now basic guided meditation to me, minimum it's 8, usually it's 20. Sometimes if I have time on a weekend, for example, it's a 40-minute guided meditation. And so you build on a good habit, and when it becomes just ingrained and something that you do similar to brushing your teeth, it doesn't take up a lot of cognitive space remembering to do it or feeling like it's something that's going to fall off your radar. You just add it into the routine. So guided meditation is a great way to start. If you're not already into meditation and don't have a meditation practice, of course, there's more than a dozen types of, official types of meditation. But I always go back to Elizabeth Gilbert's meditation advice from her little guru in Bali in her book, Eat, Pray, Love. As you get to know me, if you don't already, you will know that her book, Eat, Pray, Love, was integral in my life. It is the reason I set off at 30 years of age from Toronto to go on my own Eat, Pray, Love journey. However, I'm still at 44 on my first stop in Mexico. I will get to Bali at some point. Anyway, the guru in Bali says to Elizabeth Gilbert to just sit and smile. And I think that is such an powerful instruction. The being quiet with ourselves and also being the body awareness of what am I doing with my face. And smile, I would say soften is also a great sort of invitation to sit and smile and soften for 2 minutes a day. Maybe you want to do that with a guided meditation, some mindful music, or like I do, you can probably hear the birds of Chiapas. It is now 5:45 a.m. on a Saturday as I'm recording this. Oh, the woodpecker has found me, so we'll be wrapping this up. The point I really wanted to make is that, like all of the holistic mindful wellness tools I would invite you to try, it's not really about the thing, it's what's makes sense for you. So sure, try a new guided meditation that comes across your plate, because maybe it'll speak to you in a way that you couldn't imagine, and it could be really supportive for you at a given time. But I've been meditating, really, I learned to meditate at the end of my yoga practice over 15 years ago now, but I have had a legitimate practice of daily meditation for 5 years plus now. And it is really important to me. It is very helpful. It is a release valve in my brain, in my emotions, in my mental clarity. I do enjoy doing it in the moment, but it's really, I see the benefits more at 4 o'clock and 8 p.m. in the day, even though I do it in the 5 a.m. window, because it just extends my ability to respond instead of react to things, even when I'm getting a little bit tired or cranky. So that's the why for me on my mindful practice. Again, it doesn't need to be my meditation. It could be sitting and watching the sunrise. It could be walking the dog if you're doing it in a way that's being very present and not, with your headphones in and not being present with the dog or your surroundings or all that. So it's really about inviting more presence, more intentionality around being present, and just the being, just soaking up your environment. Going back, I always like to think of, in all of these pillars, layer in more 5 senses living. So do a scan of all of your 5 senses. What's going on? What are you picking up? What are you observing? Just that action is grounding you in the present moment, probably more so than you were before. And it doesn't need to take a lot of time. This is the beauty. Back to the 2 minutes. But even if you can't get on board with starting some sort of practice for 2 minutes a day, another practice that is mindful is journaling. You could jot down 3 things you're grateful for every single day. And the magic in that practice is that, even for the first 2 weeks, you're easily going to come up with 3 things. But after a while, you're going to have to start to get creative. And in that need to get creative, your brain gets on board and starts reprogramming. So every time you wake up in the morning, or when you're going throughout your day-to-day, now your monkey mind is scanning your environment for things to be grateful for, instead of sitting in default mode, which is scarcity. We are, evolutionarily, is that even a word? Trained to pay attention to the threats in our environment. It makes a lot of sense. But the threats in our current environment are things like 1,000 unopened emails sitting in our inbox, or, the never-ending task list in your Google Calendar, or just looking at your calendar. Like, all of these things are what are coming into our attention span of things we need to pay attention to, and they just give us this sense of, overwhelm, the opposite of what we're trying to do in a mindful practice, right? So it's just focusing on everything that needs to get done and hasn't already been done, and that creates a lot of stress in our system in the modern day version of what's a threat. So now we shift into gratitude mode. Gratitude automatically puts our system out of fear and into a more abundant mindset. And so now you're scanning your day, looking for 3 things to jot down. If you're doing it in the morning, the next morning, or if you're doing it before bed, great time is bedtime routine to instill 2 minutes of mindfulness. Maybe it's just giving yourself a hand massage with a really luxurious cream, or being more intentional about the way that you're putting on your face cream or oil, lovingly massaging your face, lovingly massaging in some self-love, some mantras, some self-appreciation, some grace, some gratitude for yourself, what you accomplished. There's really endless possibilities. I could go on forever, but it's particularly something I'm passionate about, because crafting my own morning routine was a game changer for me as a sleep-deprived mom. So if you want some insight or some thoughts on ways to incorporate 2 minutes of mindfulness into your day-to-day and how to build on it, or how to diversify it, different ways you can do that. Another really great one that a lot of clients have found helpful is making your daily bath or shower like a Zen zone. So maybe you can up-level the quality of products you're using, just be really intentional. It could be a 2 to 5 minute thing that you're doing, like you're showering, but instead of like madly sudsing yourself, slathering things on you and like rush, and like being very much in, okay, I need to do this in your head already in the future, be in that moment. Lovingly suds yourself up. Lovingly feel the softness of your skin. Tune in. Can you pay attention to your heartbeat maybe? I'm going to do a whole other podcast on awe hunting, but I'm always looking for little rainbow reflections in the bubbles. So just be more mindful, be more present, be more loving to yourself and others in the moment. And I promise you, you're going to feel a difference just even within a 7-day period. Signing off with that little tidbit, sending you big love and optimal wellness. Thanks again for listening to the Wellness as a Way of Life podcast. As you know, we love bringing you valuable content that helps you improve your wellness. This podcast is sponsored by the Wellness as a Way of Life course. The course experience is the ultimate and only wellness course you need to have in your back pocket. If you're looking to feel more confident and at ease in your own skin with consistent energy, this course is the perfect solution for you. And the best part, as a listener of the podcast, you'll get an exclusive discount on the course. Just use the promo code WELL4LIFE at checkout to receive 10% off of your purchase. That's capital W, ELL, the number 4, capital LIFE at checkout. 8 incredible women have taken the Wellness as a Way of Life course and can attest to the massive value it provides. Consisting of 60 plus audio lessons, a dozen videos, the Wellness as a Way of Life workbook, and the Wellness as a Way of Life daily tracker, menus, playlists, readings, and the Megan Swan Wellness Resource Vault. It makes it the most comprehensive, less is more, holistic wellness course on the market. So if you're ready to take your wellness skills to the next level, head over to the website linked here in the show notes and enroll in the Wellness as a Way of Life course today. Hey there, one last thing I wanted to share with you. If you're enjoying this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you could rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. It really does help us grow the show, and this being so important to me to get this message out to more women to help them optimize their wellness and ultimately their lives. This is my mission, and I would greatly appreciate it if you could support the podcast by rating and reviewing. Thanks in advance. Have a good one.